being a mean girl makes you interesting, I have tough news for you, buddy. It actually makes you look a bit insecure. Mean girls are like weeds. They only thrive when you don't tend to your own garden. So let's talk about why mean girl culture is actually pathetic. Enforcing your insecurities on others is sad. I've had to deal with mean girls most of my life. I've had to deal with my fair share of them. They are some of the most insecure people I've had the displeasure of interacting with. For one, I'm a VTuber, and we all know how mean some VTubers can be. But I've also had IRL personal experiences with them, and I think I'm qualified enough to share. When I was a child, I got bullied a lot for my accent, since I learned to speak English by watching shows on PBS Kids. So while everyone was speaking with Trini accents, I had a foreign British one, and my peers hated me for it. I would get isolated a lot and I got made fun of, and it affected me so much that I tried to get rid of that accent. And I succeeded at the cost of developing a list, and then I got bullied. I'm not for that too. Insecure people will always find something to poke at if it makes themselves feel better about themselves. Being mean doesn't make you interesting or likable. There's a particular brand of mean girl that thinks being mean makes themselves look cool. Like, look at how cool I am. I have this and you don't. I have seen this type of mean girl in real life and as a VTuber. Being a Regina George doesn't make you look cool. If anything, it makes people dislike you. If you feel the need to talk down to someone because you may view them as inferior to yourself, either because they don't have the same resources as you or may like things that you don't, that doesn't make you look cool. It makes other people disgusted. And I think most mean girls know this because there are so many cases of mean girls pretending to be kind. It happens so much, especially in the VTubing scene. Hiding it may work for a while, but eventually that mask slips and everyone sees how vile that they can be. And all that because they were insecure. And look, I was once really insecure. That was after being beaten down by other people. I mean, you start to believe things about yourself that aren't necessarily true. And I've never once actually thought to make fun of someone or to be mean to them to make myself feel better about my own particular situation. The worst type of mean girl is not the obvious one, though. It's actually the one that pretends to be a friend. A fake friend type of mean girl is the mean girl's way of like stealing your shine. Like, there are so many mean girls that pose as friends. We've all had this as an experience at least once. There's nothing more discouraging than having a friend that you thought would be there by your side tell you discouraging things. I started VTubing because of a friend like this. She laughed at me when I told her that I wanted to try VTubing, and she told me that I should be a car or a train in response to me sharing my ideas about Hyacinth. This was at a point in time when I had a really cheap mic. She found the idea of me wanting to try content creation in this medium funny because of my lack of resources and because I was from a little twin island in the Caribbean, while she herself was from a first world country. The one and only Stars and Stripes, land of the free. It made me feel bad about myself for not only being born here in my country, but also ashamed that I don't have the resources to try doing this as a medium. And I felt so ashamed of myself that I started caving in, and so bad of myself that I almost never tried. And if I had listened to her, this video probably would not exist, and I would not even be doing VTubing right now as Hyacinth. We earlier talked about how mean girls are insecure. If you have a friend that suddenly turned really cold or makes jabs at you in public or privately, there's a huge chance that they're actually jealous of you. And you may not believe me when I say it, but they are. They know that you have a huge amount of potential and they wish that they had that for themselves. So they say hurtful things so you give up on yourself and they can live it up, while you give up on yourself and they do the things that you wanted to do when they told you that you could never do it. If you made it this far, I have a few experiences of mean girls, but I'm sure you must have had a few experiences of mean girls of your own. So what sort of thing a mean girl has said to you, or mean person that has said to you, actually backfired and helped you learn things about yourself and made you grow? Here are 3 tips on how I deal with mean girls as a VTuber and someone who has had 12 years of experience on dealing with them IRL. I have got this advice from my dad. when I was struggling to cope with a mean girl who bullied me from preschool all the way until secondary school. And I can't deal with any mean girl now because of it. Focus on your greatness, and success is the best revenge. This isn't like an IRL thing alone. It could actually work for if you're a VTuber as well. Mean girls want to tear you down, so just don't let them. Sometimes the best way out is to get back at a mean girl, and that way is actually to be successful. Focus on what makes you shine so bright that they go blind. Invest in yourself and prioritize your joy. Once you start improving yourself, the trash eventually takes itself out. I've had mean girls block me unpromptedly after I just focused on myself and I started glowing up. They say a bunch of terrible things about me, make shade pull, and I just ignore it, and eventually they just left. Silence sometimes is the best response, and no response is the perfect response most of the time. People that are like this may not be the easiest to ignore, especially if you're like really anxious like myself or really quiet type of person. Eventually people will get bored and then they'll go away. And if they don't, you stand up for yourself. Sometimes the only solution left is to be mean right back and protect your dignity. That girl that was mean to me in preschool, that followed me all the way till secondary school, being mean to me, eventually I stood up for myself, because every time I tried to learn things that I struggled with, like maths, she would call me stupid in class or other horrible names. And I still remember the day that I stood up in the middle of a math class and told her and called her out for being a horrible person who hated on me for no reason since we were basically toddlers. And she lost all of her social power that day. Why? Because her friends saw her for who she truly was. A bully. She never approached me in a disrespectful way again. And I know it can be really, really hard to face people like this and be confrontational. But sometimes in life you have to fight back. And that's okay. That's why I made this video. And that's what my dad has always told me. That's my take on why mean girls are pathetic losers. Do you think I'm wrong for thinking this way? Or do you think I missed something? This is the 5th episode of my signature series, IYGPL. If it falls in your garden, plant it. Where I talk about my pet peeves and various different things on the internet, or just things in general that piss me off. Like mean girls. I'll see you next week.